You've heard of the Star-Spangled Man with a Plan? Well, get ready for the red-suited guy. I guess with a serious ego complex. With the Red Guardian's arrival into the MCU, it seems David Harbour has done a great job on his mission to make everyone forget about the Hellboy reboot. Becoming an instant fan favorite, the Red Guardian has actually been around in Marvel Comics for a seriously long amount of time. I mean, if America has its own captain, why wouldn't other countries try to follow that pitch-perfect formula? Like Captain America or even the Black Panther, the Red Guardian is a mantle that gets passed from warrior to warrior as time goes on, and each seeks to protect their home country of Russia with valiance and honor. But which of the Red Guardians really takes the cake? Let's find out right now. Many versions of the Red Guardian, and especially Alexi Shostakov, are fighting, killing machines, with an overwhelming desire to tussle it up with the strongest. However, there are definitely alternate forms to power than just beating stuff up. In the comic series Avengers United They Stand, set in Earth 730834, Alexi Shostakov is of all things a pacifist. Instead, this version of the most popular Red Guardian decides to put down his fist in favor of expanding his mind. He became a theoretical physicist and a professor. When teaching at a university in Russia, he met his longtime love interest, Natasha Romanoff. Important note, more often than not in the comics, Alexi Shostakov is actually the love interest of Black Widow, and not her fake father as we see portrayed in the Black Widow film. In this universe, he eventually married Natasha right before he fell into the hands of evil. The organization Hydra was so impressed with this Alexi's intellect that they actually brainwashed him for several years. Think of him as a Winter Soldier with 2 arms, and instead of shooting people, he helps them with their physics homework. Eventually, years later, still under mind control, Natasha found Alexi in Canada working for Advanced Idea Mechanics and devised a plan to set him free. This version of the quote-unquote Red Guardian is absolutely useless in a physical fight, given that he wouldn't even dare throw a punch. However, there are definitely other forms of powerful intelligence that this alternate universe version of the Russian hero has. There will always be a legacy advantage for the guy to do it first. While Alexi Shostakov may be the most memorable version of the character, he will always be second fiddle to Aleksey Lebedev. Unfortunately, while he may wear the suit very well, his power is somewhat lacking. Without anything even relative to a Super Soldier Serum, Lebedev is basically just the peak of human athleticism. Actually, peak might be a bit of a strong word. Let's just say he engages regularly in training and exercise. He was specifically chosen by the Soviet government to be the Red Guardian after his heroic actions during an industrial incident. With a somewhat tragic backstory, Lebedev's family were all killed by the Nazis in World War II. At his lowest moment, he proved himself to be a hero and was chosen to represent his country as a reward. In his first appearance as the first Red Guardian, he was serving as a glorified bodyguard for Joseph Stalin. At the end of the day, the Red Guardian was just meant to be an answer to Captain America in World War II, and while he certainly doesn't measure up in power, he definitely measures up in heart. He's got the skills of a dedicated gym goer, but is more of a symbol than an actual super soldier. Krassno Granitsky was the 5th man to take up the role of the Red Guardian, following the abandonment of the moniker by his predecessor Josef Petkus, in favor of his new role as the Steel Guardian. Interestingly, Granitsky is the first Red Guardian following the collapse of the Soviet Union. In his own words, it would seem that at this time a heroic symbol of his country was needed now more than ever. While this may have been true, his stint as the pride of Russia was short-lived. In his first appearance, Krassno appeared alongside the hero Maverick in a Russian prison cell, held captive by the evil Pushkin. Maverick had believed the Red Guardian to be dead, to which we get a great explanation of the passing of the torch. Pushkin, surrounded by his superpowered bodyguards like Omega Red, Hammer, and Sickle, was trying to spark a conflict between AIM and Hydra. Together, the two of them stopped him. Though, to be fair, the superpowered Maverick carried a lot of the load. While Krassno seems to be in top shape like many other Red Guardians, his main show of power is his ability to get captured, as well as assassinated by the villain Alexander Lukin in a short time after. Marvel Zombies has quickly become a staple what-if scenario in the Marvel comic universe. Seemingly every character to exist in all timelines and universes has a zombie counterpart. Becoming a zombie makes the character much less susceptible to injury. Well, let me rephrase. They definitely get injured, they just seem to care a lot less. Spider-Man loses a leg and the top half of Captain America's head gets cut off, but still they fight on. Becoming a zombie turns their savage levels up to 10. During the Army of Darkness storyline, the mutant Quicksilver became infected with the virus that was turning our beloved heroes into the undead. Once he became a zombie, everyone else in the world could basically kiss their humanity goodbye. He quickly spread the disease all over the world, including to England, where Captain Britain was transformed into a zombie, and eventually to Russia, where Alexi Shostakov was transformed into a minion of the undead. His ultimate fate is unknown, and the brief appearance of him on Earth Z depicts him ripping the limbs off of his victim. So long story short, no matter how powerful you are, a sudden uncontrollable hunger for brains may just give you that extra boost to win any fight. Before Josef Petkus became the Red Guardian, he was a top operative for numerous intelligence organizations for the Soviet Union. Eventually, he was chosen to be the fourth iteration of the Red Guardian. His power outmatches several of those that came before him, as his training was lifelong and he has actually reached the peak of human physicality. He can lift up to 800 pounds and is an extremely skilled fighter and acrobat. Josef joined a group called the Supreme Soviets and was tasked to hunt down a group of defectors, several of whom were once Red Guardians themselves, called the Soviet Super Soldiers. He is equipped with the classic Red Guardian shield and uses it far more sophisticatedly than several of his counterparts. He has battled super teams, Atlanteans, and even taken on the Hulk. Eventually, his super team was formed with another, and they adopted the new name of the Winter Guard, with Josef as its leader. New team, new name. Josef dropped the Red Guardian moniker and became the Steel Guardian. His life ended after taking a trip through the anomaly and found himself in Limbo, the realm ruled by the Kang variant Immortus. In his final brave moments, he took on mystical beings called the Dark Wraiths and was subsequently impaled. So yeah, for a guy with slightly enhanced strength and can probably do a cartwheel better than most, he went out in a pretty epic way. Alexi Shostakov is the second character to carry the Red Guardian mantle, and most likely the most recognizable. This is due to his incredibly long history in the comics, and the diversified routes he has taken beyond his experience as the Red Guardian. He started as an acclaimed test pilot, married to a slightly more famous Marvel character, Natasha Romanoff. Some of his less classified missions were highly publicized and he was branded a Soviet hero. Eventually, the KGB decided to fake Alexi's death and cut him off from his past life, including his wife, who would later go on to become the Black Widow. It was here when Alexi began being trained to become the second Red Guardian, and he was transformed into a cruel and ruthless man. This version of the Red Guardian was actually able to tangle with the likes of Hercules and Captain America, though their fight was never truly finished. Eventually, Alexi came face to face with his former wife, who believed him to be dead. He attempted to corrupt the Black Widow, but she and S.H.I.E.L.D. were eventually able to bring him into custody. Years later, Alexi resurfaced with a new outfit and moniker that has been shared by several other characters, Ronin. That's right, the Red Guardian had become the hero synonymous with a fighter without a nation. Heroes such as Blade, T'Challa, Mark Spector, and Hawkeye have all taken on this identity. In an alternate universe, Earth 3470 to be exact, a team of Soviet super soldiers formed a team called, wait for it, the Soviet Super Soldiers. This team in a universe nicknamed the Reality Jumper consisted of alternate variant versions of several past Red Guardians, including Vanguard and Alexi Shostakov, who was currently carrying the moniker, as well as characters like Darkstar, Ursa Major, and the Crimson Dynamo. While his powers are not all that different from an Earth 616 version of himself with a little Super Soldier Serum, he seems to be a much more efficient fighter. His costume was especially sleek and more durable. In the Earth X storyline, the world was mutated by the release of the Terrigen Mists, and a young man by the name of Skull sought to take over the planet. Many heroes we know and love took on different forms and roles in this alternate reality. Captain America quit the Avengers, feeling unfit for the team, only to lead another team I guess he felt fit for. In this team's travels, we see the new layout of the world affected by serious mutation. Visiting Russia, we see that a new army of unknown humanoid creatures now serve as the protectors of the country. It is unknown whether these creatures are robots, enhanced soldiers, aliens, or any combination of the above, but they are all modeled after the original Red Guardian. Captain Britain in England commanded a very similar army, modeled after the hero Union Jack. Some of these soldiers possess the capability of flight, and all of them have enhanced strength. I mean, you can't be mistaken for a robot without being able to punch through some solid surfaces. These Red Guardians on this alternate Earth bear incredible fighting prowess. And while their ultimate fate is unknown, they helped Cap and his team with their quest against Skull. Anton was the sixth lucky soul to pick up that old red shield and adopt the moniker of the Protector of Russia. As the hero, Anton joined the Winter Guard, led by the fourth Red Guardian, Josef Petkus. Anton was an engineer and claimed to once be a pilot of the armor that so many times clashed with Tony Stark's Iron Man, known as the Crimson Dynamo. The unique thing about Anton is the step he took to become stronger than most of the regular athletic soldiers that came before him. Anton decided to upload his consciousness into a life model decoy, which would allow him enhanced strength, durability, and fighting reflexes. It also seems that the life model decoy may provide him with some level of immortality. At the time of his supposed death, he was decapitated by a dire wraith, but his head, seeming to still be alive, was stored and planned to be used later for nefarious purposes. Anton has protected Russia during a Skrull invasion, and a version of him has even shown up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. going by Anton Ivanov, aka the Superior. On a power level, this Red Guardian can certainly outmatch some of his former associates, and his unique mind transference experiment has given him power that few others have experienced. Nothing like a little madness to help increase your power level. The Red Guardian Enhanced Soldier existed in the Ultimate Universe, just like most other Marvel characters. Captain America raided a Super Soldier facility only to find the ultimate Alexi Shostakov had been trapped there for years. Possessing the Super Soldier Serum, or at least the Russian variant that was an answer to the Americans, Alexi had increased strength and fighting capabilities similar to Captain America. Being trapped at the facility for so long had also driven the former Soviet hero absolutely insane. With this new lease on life and a rusted old shield combined with the might of the Super Soldier Serum, this version of the Red Guardian is one powerful character. Unfortunately, however, his power was short-lived, as the new, more brutal Ultimate version of Captain America didn't take very long to stab him through the chest with a piece of wood. The seventh and most recent version of the Red Guardian is Nikolai Krylenko, but is often known as the hero Vanguard. Vanguard and his twin sister Darkstar are natural mutants, and once their powers began to manifest, the KGB took them to train them as super soldiers. The two were actually the children of the villain known as the Presence. After bouncing around a few super teams like the Winter Guard and the Protectorate, Darkstar was killed, causing Vanguard extreme anguish. He hatched a plan to attempt to revive her, involving his villainous father and several former Red Guardians like Starlight and Steel Guardian. In a fight with the Dark Wraiths, many members of the Russian teams were killed, but ultimately Darkstar was saved. After this whole endeavor, Vanguard himself decided to pick up the shield and become the next incarnation of the Red Guardian. His mutant powers allow him to create an energy field that could repel virtually all forms of energy. Originally, he needed tools to focus his power through, but eventually learned to control them on his own. That, on top of being a trained KGB assassin, makes Vanguard a very powerful Russian protector. David Harbour's Alexi Shostakov has burst into the MCU and into our hearts. On top of his charming good looks, fantastically outdrawn stories, and subpar fatherly skills, this Russian hero is actually incredibly powerful. Back in the Cold War, Alexi was given the moniker of the Red Guardian, as the Soviets' pride and true hero. Unlike his American counterpart, however, Alexi seems to be in it more for the money, fame, and glory than for his nation. His story also ends slightly less honorably than going into the ice to save your country. He went into the ice, just not the way you would think. In an attempt to erase his existence, Dreykov sent Alexi to a Siberian prison to live out his days until rescued by his fake daughters. In prison, Alexi showed his superior strength and fighting ability, though it might be less impressive than other MCU characters. He arm-wrestled prisoners twice his size and broke through solid metal doors. You see, unlike the majority of the comic versions of the Red Guardian, Alexi in the MCU was actually given a variant of the Super Soldier Serum. This gives him enhanced strength, durability, and reflexes. It was clearly not as strong as the serum created by Dr. Erskine, though if you ask Alexi, he would definitely tell you he beat up Captain America. Tanya Balanskaya, also known as Starlight, was the daughter of a noted leader of a movement actually opposing the policies of the Soviet Union, and the third person to adopt the Red Guardian name. Though this time it was primarily in opposition to the KGB and Soviets in hopes to save her country from its domestic threats. After her father was taken to a Siberian prison for his public denouncements of Soviet policies, Tanya, an already accomplished neurosurgeon, decided to become all about that superhero life. She went to America, invited by Doctor Strange, and decided to join the superhero team, the Defenders. All was well, and at this point, Tanya did not show much remarkable power beyond hand-to-hand combat. Eventually, she was forced back to the Soviet Union by a villain known as the Presence, who began experimenting on her. Both Tanya and the Presence were exposed to cobalt energy in combination with a nuclear explosion. This transformed Tanya into a being composed of nuclear energy. This gave her increased strength, capable of lifting up to 10 tons, as well as the ability to store and redistribute nuclear energy in the form of concussive blasts and laser vision. She even decided to put herself in isolation until she could master her powers, given the grave danger they now posed. Eventually, Starlight was destroyed when she saved the world from a tear in time that led to limbo, proving herself to be a true hero of not only her country, but of the world as well. Look, he's no Captain America, but the Red Guardian is certainly a character that should long be remembered. Which existing characters that hail from Russia do you think would make a great Red Guardian? I would love to see Colossus with a star on his chest.